Remnant 2 is a third-person action RPG shooter that is the sequel to their best-selling prequel, Remnant from the Ashes. Now, this is my first ever Remnant game, and let me say that after playing this game and being introduced to the characters and the world of Remnant, all I can think about was, damn, I wish I played the first game, because there's so much lore I'm missing out on, and I feel like I'd connect more with the characters if I knew about their story beforehand. But nonetheless, this game is fun, and it takes many inspirations from Soul games, especially Elden Ring, with one of the main afflictions in the game is known as root rot.
This is not an admission.
Let me see. It's getting worse.
Which, if you played Elden Ring, it's very similar to Melania's Scarlet Rot. Remnant 2 also shares another similarity with Elden Ring, and that's checkpoints serve as resting spots where you can refill relics and ammo, as well as slayed enemies will be revived.
No!
The similarities this game had with Elden Ring is one of the reasons why I liked the game, because it reminded me of how great Elden Ring was to play. Although Remnant 2 had similarities with Elden Ring, but they're not the same, and Remnant 2 had their own unique twists that I enjoyed experiencing, such as the gameplay for one. It was fun blasting enemies to dust with heavy firepower, especially since you can keep the fire going for a while before it eventually dies out. Which brings me to my first like about the gameplay. The fact that the ammo drop rate for slaying enemies is pretty high was such a relief, because the game doesn't punish you with scarce ammo drops. So you're able to blast away with little concern. But before you get to blasting, you'll first need to choose your first archetype. I say first because you can have a total of 2 equipped. Now, this is my second like, simply because of the main and sub-job feature. It reminded me a lot of Final Fantasy XI, where you can choose your starting job and then later on unlock a secondary job to accompany the first one. Remember, using 2 specialized skills is always better than only using 1. I really like bosses having modifiers. It made the fights more challenging, and you had to plan strategically in order to come out on top. Also, adventure mode being a separate journey that will give you 2 different storylines for the world selected was pretty cool, and kept things fresh without getting stale and repetitive by completing the same objectives from the campaign.
You must find me in the flesh. My temple can be found within the wastes above. Look for the all-seeing eye of the astral paths.
Moving outside of the gameplay, I loved both Reggie and Mudtooth. Reggie, because it's the voice of Lee from the Walking Dead Telltale series. How cool is that?
Reginald Malone, but my friends call me Reggie. You can too. Saw you come in with Bo and Clementine there.
And Mudtooth, because his wacky, crazy stories, as well as his manner of speech, had me in laughter. Dude's hilarious.
Back in my day, a place like this wouldn't be considered much more than a camp or a bivouac. I lived by myself for years, see? Had myself a hockapotopter. I ain't one to back down from something stupid. So, I grabbed the can and said something sensually flattering about their mamas. Then, I popped the top.
2 things I felt very 50-50 about were the level scaling and the fact that there are no ruins or souls in this game. I'll first start with the level scaling. Reason why I'm okay and not okay with it is because it's rather interesting in Remnant 2. The fact that enemies gain more health and damage based solely on the player character's combined gear and class level. This was, I think, the first time I've ever seen it applied to a game. Was I a fan of this? No, not in particular, because it made things more complex to me. Instead of going the generic route of having predetermined levels or enemies scaling to your current class level. That would have made it much more easier to understand how strong enemies are in a specific world, so you can better prepare yourself. There being no souls or ruins you can gain to further develop your character was another thing that surprised me, because in Soul-like games, there's usually a form of currency that you can also use to level up your character. Instead, you'll be doing it the old-fashioned way, by killing monsters. I like this way more simply because of the standard RPG elements of killing mobs to level up. Due to this, if you happen to die, you keep all loot and XP earned in the next life, which was great. I think one of my major dislikes about Remnant 2 was the limited character customization. You could only select the default options provided, which sucks, because I would have loved to go more in depth into customizing. And finally, cross-platform not being supported is disappointing, because I have friends that would have most likely enjoyed this game.
Every part of your transient life.
And there you have it. That's my review on Remnant 2. The game is definitely fun if you have a group of friends to play with, so you can fully experience the teamwork this game has to offer with taking down strong bosses. But the game is still fun nonetheless if you played it solo like myself. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any recommendations on what game I should play next, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.